Hello and good morning, all you Toronto Blue Jays fans. My name is Craig Borden. I'm your host right here on Jays Latest, and we get to unfortunately talk about a Jays loss today. No funs. So, as Game 2 of the ALCS commences, the Blue Jays were hoping to get some level of a bounce back, and in the end of the day, this team got just deflated really early. Trey Savage, we were hoping to hear the best and get what we got out of him against the Yankees, and it just did not hit exactly the same. It looked like the um, Seattle Mariners figured something out. The other thing that they also figured out is that the umpire was not calling in favor of anybody that would have thrown a splitter last night. Bottom of the strike zone was not a strike like it should have been, and rather inconsistently, of course, too. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to make excuses. It just is what it is. The Blue Jays lose this one in sizable fashion in ouch terms, 10-3 on a bunch of home runs. Um, so let's get this started. The beginning of this game started off with a couple of walks, and then you have Julio Rodriguez in the box. Um, and this is, of course, after two outs were recorded and just needed to keep things moving in the right direction. Julio tanks one, and it was just one of those things. He worked a good count, did what he needed to do, and all of a sudden, it's 3-0 Mariners, and that would be the summary of everything that happened yesterday for the Mariners. They powered their way to a victory. Three home runs, totaling for 8 runs of their 10. So if you take those home runs or even keep them in the ballpark off of the board, this is a very different looking ball game, and that's got to be Blue Jays' game plan for game. Sorry about that, party people. But yeah, you keep them off of the scoreboard like this. There's a lot that can change in the favor of the Toronto Blue Jays in a very, very quick fashion. So, in the midst of this, that's what they need to think about how they're going to attack this game. And once the series moves to Seattle on Wednesday. So, anyways, bottom of the first, Blue Jays play comeback and get right back into this. And it looked like we had a pulse. The offense is clicking. Nathan Lucas is once again the MVP of MVPs at this point for the Blue Jays, and drives in George Springer to put the score to be 3-1. It was a throwing error, but regardless, it was counted as a single because I think he was going to make it anyway. Alejandro Kirk comes up a couple batters later and keeps the line moving. Scores Nathan Lucas, puts it to 3-2. But in the second, once again, Nathan Lucas gets the spotlight. He would end up having 4 singles in this ball game. Ernie Clement had doubled, and you get Nathan Lucas to drive him in. Tie ball game, 3-3 in the bottom of the second, and it looked like things might be a very, very crazy, competitive game. That would be the difference in where things went and where it looked. So in the fifth, apparently Jorge Polanco had continuing ideas of how he can be the most clutch hitter in baseball for this postseason. Outside of, I think him and Nathan Lucas are basically on point with each other at this point, except Jorge Polanco hits a 3-run home run and drives in Randy Arozarena and Cal Riley and puts this one up 6-3 for the Seattle Mariners. And then the Mariners proceeded to pour it on. J.P. Crawford in the sixth hits a single, drives in Luis Rivas. Then Josh Naylor, the Mississauga native, hits a 2-run blast, and this was a no-doubter. So friends, family of Josh, congratulations, but not gonna lie, that really sucked because that was the one that was the biggest blow and deflated the whole no chance of comeback thing. You could feel the air get sucked out of the ballpark from that point. Skydome was not sky high. J.P. Crawford would eventually put the 10th run on the board with a sac fly, and the pitching, like I said, just did not have its night. Um, Still some weird bullpen usage, things like that. But at the end of the day, it was just the Mariners' offense. They just pummeled us and kept going and going and going and going. And it looks like I forgot to change one of the headlines here. But, anyways, the whole point of the game, the problem was it just felt like there was that piece that never happened, that like that spark just didn't come. and they couldn't get that piece going, and that's what translates to a 10-3 loss. And Trey Savage, like I said, they definitely figured something out. 4 innings of work for him, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks is what really hurt him. His control was not as good as it was, or it was that strike zone that I had mentioned. 4 strikeouts as well. Leo Varland even gave up a home run. Mason Fluharty had a rough inning as well. Brandon Fisher, for the first time in a long time, had a couple of runs. The home run to Josh Naylor, or not Josh Naylor. Yeah, was the Polanco home run maybe? No, it was the Josh Naylor home run. I apologize. Yariel Rodriguez didn't even record it out in the 4 batters that he replaced. Chris Bassett, I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. Chris Bassett came in and looked good. Eric Lauer came in and looked good to finish this game out. So there were some pieces there that were interesting. Blue Jays couldn't mount that comeback, obviously. The mountain was just too far to climb. So on that note, the Blue Jays will be playing again on Wednesday. They got the off day to travel to Seattle, and hopefully they have better travel arrangements and fun that the clearly the Mariners did not have coming to Toronto. So it'll be very fun to see how this whole thing unravels. And then we get Shane Bieber versus George Kirby. Kirby has been phenomenal. He was the one that pitched against Tarek Skubal in the game 5. That's why we're just finally seeing him in this series, even though he was pretty much their ace at this point. I would say 2 games from him in the American League Division Series, he only allowed 3 earned runs. Just saying, party people, that's not going to be the most fun. It's 9 hits, 3 earned runs, and 10 innings of work in the Division Series, a 2.7 ERA, and a 1 even for a whip. He only allowed a few base runners, only 1 walk on top of those hits I mentioned. So it's going to be an uphill climb against George Kirby, but we are going to get Shane Bieber on the mound looking for redemption, looking for hostile environments, because he was not happy with his last performance in Yankee Stadium. Only 2 2/3. Part of that's because they just kind of yanked him on 54 pitches, which that is my biggest gripe with this postseason so far. John Schneider's got a very, very quick pull on his starters, and for some reason seems to think that this bullpen is going to be a better idea. I really do not agree with that statement one stinking bit. Let these guys pitch. Savage last night was the only one that I would actually maybe agree with, but I do think that he was a better option in that case there. 2 2/3 in his last outing, like I mentioned. He got pulled early after just allowing 2 earned runs on 5 hits. Obviously that worked out, but can't say that all the time. So on that note, Blue Jays fans, we will be here all day, every day, talking Toronto Blue Jays baseball. If you did miss the National League Championship Series, the Milwaukee Brewers and the LA Dodgers had a fun one, including one of the most random double plays you will ever see in your life. So go check out the 8-6-2 double play, because basically what happened in this, what eventually became a Dodgers win 2-1, but this is one of the most crazy plays you will ever see in baseball. And basically on a fly ball, center fielder tried to catch the ball up against the wall, and it hit the wall. He picks the ball up, guns it in, relay guy goes to home, and because the bases were loaded in this situation, the ball wasn't caught. It wasn't a tag up situation. Home plate was actually a force out. And then the catcher, Contreras walks down to third base, taps third base, and gets another out. So that was 0. Double play at home and a play at third on what was not a catch in center field. It hit the wall. So very interesting, very cool. Check that replay out because it is wild. So anyways, Blue Jays fans, we'll talk to you tomorrow. And as always, go Blue Jays.